Yo, what's up? Welcome inside the opening line. Corey and Benny coming to you on a Thursday, first big Thursday of college football. Get some picks coming up later in the program. I have a couple things I'm interested in today. I'll run those things past you, obviously. Final call for fantasy football drafts coming up, Benny, and you are coming up on your final couple days down the show before we get back up top and really get it rolling, huh?
Yeah, my wife should be down tonight. She had to work today. I think they get out early, so she's coming down tonight. And then we're heading back home Monday because one of my kids starts on Wednesday. The other two start on Thursday. So, we need to get back up there. We still got to do some back-to-school shopping. My oldest guy needs some new kicks. My youngest guy needs a book bag and a lunchbox and all that because he's starting pre-K this year. So it'll be nice, man. I get them all out of the house, all of them, every day, all of them. Go. Beat it.
Very good, Benny. So, yeah, mine's getting ready to go back. Well, Jaden's already on campus. He's locked in. He's off the hook. I got to send some money down there today, as a matter of fact.
Always, man. That's part of being a college kid. You always need money.
Every day, it seems like. You know what I'm saying? So, but, yeah, we get him back in school, and then, you know what I'm saying, we hit the head running. But, listen, these final couple weekends of drafts, Benny, I wanted to kind of go over some of the things that we've kind of been discussing the past 2 months and try to put a final spin on it, maybe like a final cheat sheet, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Where do you stand as of today right now with the top 4 picks on the board?
I got to be honest, I am avoiding Ezekiel Elliott right now.
Okay.
So for me, it's the top 3 picks on the board. I stand Saquon Barkley, number 1, Christian McCaffrey, number 2, Alvin Kamara, number 3. Now, I got to be honest. I mean, the Zeke thing right now is scaring the hell out of me, and I already had some shares from earlier in the summer in June and July drafts before, we really started knowing that this could be an issue. If I had the number 4 pick right now, I'd probably go David Johnson.
All right, there you go right there. I'm Kamara, McCaffrey. No, I'm Kamara, Barkley, McCaffrey, Zeke. That's how I think it plays out right there. If at any time over the course of the next couple of days, if Zeke comes in, he is 1-1, in my opinion. Another thing we've been talking about, Benny, and I kind of want to put a bow on it for this weekend. Where are you at on Ty Gurley as we head into the final draft weekends?
I won't take him in the first round, but if he's available to me early in the second round, I'm all over it.
Cool. I was talking with our buddy Chris Vaccaro about this. He says his theory was you don't want to go into a season having a guy that's already hurt.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing I say for baseball, basketball, and football when we're doing season-long drafts. It's part of the reason I have avoided Leonard Fournette so much in the offseason right now. It's part of the reason why I have tried not to draft Antonio Brown since this whole ridiculous foot thing and helmet thing started popping up through there. It's hard enough to stay healthy through an entire 16-game football season when you're starting the season at 100%. When you're starting the season at less than 100%, I think I've just been burned too many times, Corey, with guys who weren't 100% to start the season that never got to 100% during the season. Because let's face it, you don't start feeling better as you're getting beat up on a weekly basis, especially at the running back position or the quarterback position, right? Like, you're not going to get better without rest, and you're not resting if you're playing every week. So,
no, you can't rest.
Yeah, if you're not 100% to start with, it's usually something that I try to avoid.
All right, Benny, who is your top wide receiver?
My number 1 is Julio Jones. I think Julio's the best receiver. If I have usually around like the 6th or 7th pick where I start looking, okay, maybe I'll start this draft wide receiver, Julio's usually the guy, followed very closely by Odell Beckham. To me, those 2 guys are head and shoulder over everybody else.
It's funny, Benny, how I think I mentioned it yesterday on the program. Now that we're getting towards that final weekend, things are starting to tighten up. And some of the NFFC drafts I've seen over the past couple of days, Julio Jones is the first wide receiver going off the board. It's like, okay, the money's out. It's time to get serious. Let's stop fooling around. Let's get down to business. And Julio Jones is the down to business guy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, to me, he still has the biggest ceiling, right? I mean, everybody talks about him not scoring touchdowns and all that stuff. To me, that's something that's just – it's regression. It's just one of those things that he's been on the wrong side of it recently. but it's going to regress back to the mean because when you catch as many passes as he does and you rack up as many yards as he does, the touchdowns are going to come. Plus, with the switch back in offensive coordinators this year, we've noticed if you look back when these two guys were together, those were some of the biggest seasons that Julio Jones had. So yep. I'm expecting Julio to put up some of the best numbers of his career this year.
All right, where are we at right now, betting on the rising ADPs of Kerryon Johnson and Chris Godwin? Johnson's in the second. It's also starting to see Godwin in the second too, Benny.
Yeah, I can't. Let's start with Godwin, right? Because to me, we talked about this almost on a daily basis right now because I know you're somebody who is just in shock at the meteoric rise of Chris Godwin and the love that he's getting from the fantasy community. I'm kind of the same mindset, right? It's like I want to draft guys where I think I'm getting them later than they should have been drafted, Yeah. And that's not the case with Chris Godwin. Like, to me, again, if you're taking Chris Godwin in the second round, you're talking like wide receiver 10 or less, which means that you're expecting Chris Godwin to put up an all-pro kind of season, which means you're expecting Chris Godwin to put up 80 catches with 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns. I maybe, but it would be like his ceiling, in my opinion.
And you pay for you paid for every last stat. You know what I'm saying?
You're buying his ceiling is what you're buying right now. And there's really no room for error there. Anything short of him being absolutely stellar this year, and you overpaid for him. So that's Chris Godwin. Let's get that out of the way. The Kerryon Johnson one. Kerryon Johnson's going at the back end of the second round, right?
Yeah.
So to me, I think it depends who else is on the board at the time. But back end of the second round, beginning of the third round, I know you saw that, yeah. It's kind of where Kerryon Johnson pretty much belongs right now. So, with him also getting some passing down work, with him being a bigger part of the offense, and like we talked about yesterday, the flip side of the Detroit passing game, with them concentrating more on running, you got to think that he has a better chance to put up some big numbers.
All right, cool. I agree with you. The Kerryon thing, I don't mind too much. Where are we at with the big 3 tight ends versus the second tier tight ends? I think it's more value in that second tier, even though I love Travis Kelce. Outside of Kelce, Benny, you can get me that Evan Ingram, Hunter Henry, O.J. Howard, Evan Ingram. Who else? Some people put Jared Cook in there.
Put Eric Ebron in there if you want.
Ebron in there. I would put Ebron in there. I'm not touching Jared Cook. That's a me thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Where you staying at on tight ends, Benny?
So I have no problem with Travis Kelce being a first-round pick. No problem whatsoever with it. To me, he's head and shoulders above everybody else. He gives you a big advantage at the position. You're going to get a top 3 score out of him probably 10 of the 16 weeks of the season at a minimum. So if you want to go in the first round and build your team with Travis Kelce, I'm good with that. Kittle is the number 2 for me. I don't touch Kittle until the 4th round. If he falls to the 4th round, I'm good with that. Most of the time, though, he's been going off the board before the 4th round, and I'm not willing to give up taking some of these big-time running backs or some of these big-time wide receivers to get Kittle this year. So I'm not doing that anywhere before the 4th round, and even then, it would have to be a situation where, I don't really like the other options that are on the board for me, the wide receivers if I started with wide receivers or the running backs if I started the other way.
Bet. I'm basically the same. Like I said, Kelce, and then I'll figure it out with that second tier. If I got to drop down a little bit later.
And Ertz?
Mark Andrews. Zach Ertz off my board.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with Zach Ertz. If I could get Ertz in like the 7th round, maybe I'd start considering it, but he's never there.
Rare situation this year. I don't think I ever remember seeing it before, Benny. I think it might be some fantasy value there. Then again, I think it very well may not be. You have a situation where probably in round 4, you see 3 wide receivers from the same team go back to back to back in a lot of cases, but they're all in the 4th round with their ADP. It's Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, and Cooper Kupp. If I had to get involved with one, Benny, it would. Oh man, it's tough because I worry about Kupp coming back off that ACL. Mm-hmm. Benny, I don't think I'm going to own a Rams wide receiver this year.
I have a few shares here and there. Robert Wood is my favorite, and you kind of mentioned why. Like Cooper Kupp, you got the ACL thing to worry about. I think Wood is more consistent than Cooks because Cooks is more of the deep threat kind of guy. So when I'm looking at those wide receivers, for me, Robert Wood is the safest of them. Now, with that said, Corey, I'm not really targeting any of them. Like, if Wood falls to the 5th round, that's when I'd probably start considering it, because the guys – I mean, like if Julian Edelman's off the board and other guys who I think are going to be number 1 wide receivers on their team are off the board, I'll start considering it. If not, though, I don't really want anything to do with them.
Yep, I would agree. Another thing, Benny, is for years we have looked at the Patriots' backfield as a wasteland or someplace that mainly creates fantasy headaches, but there is touchdowns and numbers to be had there. For years, we got a discount on my man Jimmy White. It doesn't happen this year, Benny. Everybody's on Jimmy White. They already know what Mr. RB2 can do. Sony Michel gave people a scare at the start of training camp. Now he seems like he's ramped up and ready to go. I am in on both players, Benny.
Yeah, I think, Sony Michel is the guy who I think has his ADP is below where it probably should be, right? Like if he's healthy, he's a guy that could rack up a ton of touchdowns for them and score a lot of fantasy points that way. So I think James White – I don't want to say he's being overdrafted, but you're not getting the value on him that you had gotten in years past. Sony Michel, to me, probably offers a little more value. And honestly, the two of them are going pretty much around the same places in draft, although you have seen Sony Michel kind of creep up now that everybody knows that the injury is not as big an issue as people were saying it was going to be.
No doubt. Don't forget Damian Harris also in that backfield with Michel. If you want to handcuff that situation, that's a young man, ran very well for University of Alabama last year, now his rookie season. He's a little bit behind the curve too, but obviously when the Patriots get on the field, these things tend to figure themselves out. We saw the big news of this week, the retirement of Andrew Luck. Benny, I think we've hit on this constantly. Just another quick reminder. The players are not off my board. I'm taking a discount on I have too much TY as it is. What I would tell y'all to do is don't let him fall to the 5th and 6th round. If he's there in the 4th round, consider that a steal, especially if you get him as a wide receiver 3. The rest of the offense, I'm still locking step, and Jacoby Brissett is a good option in 2 QB leagues, Benny.
So last night in the draft that I was in, I got T.Y. Hilton, round 4, pick 10.
That's perfect.
Yeah, so I thought at that point I had to take him. I was worried because the guy behind me didn't have any wide receivers yet, the guy that was on the turn. So I was like, all right, I got to take him before it comes around. And it actually worked out well because the running back I wanted was still there when it came back around to me, and that was Duke Johnson at the beginning of the 5th. The guy behind me did take the 2 wide receivers, so I was good. So I was happy that I took him there. But, yeah, I mean, T.Y. is dropping a little bit, so you're getting a little bit more of a value on him. I definitely think that he takes a hit without Luck, but I don't think it's as big a hit as people are making it out to be. Remember, the much better offensive line now, much better skill position players around Jacoby Brissett this time than the last time we saw him out there. So I am expecting him to be better.
Much better coach, too.
Yeah, better offensive. So, like, there's just a lot of things that are positive. That's why people were so high on the Colts this year when they thought Andrew Luck was going to be there. So that's that.
Yeah, this is Brissett is not Chuck Whitehurst.
Jacoby – last night, I wanted to talk to you about this because I was a little shocked about it. Last night, Jacoby Brissett went off the board at quarterback 18, I think.
Yeah.
Like way before, like he was off the board before guys like Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, I think he was off the board before. Phillip Rivers. Like I'm trying to remember who else was left there, like Tom Brady, Sam Darnold.
Probably Dak was probably there too.
I think it was like right after that. It was like right after the Cam Newton, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson like range.
Yeah.
And right before it got to like Rivers and Cousins and those, because I wound up with Cousins after that. I was like, all right, if you're going to take Brissett, I'll take Cousins, But that felt a little high for me. Where are you slotting Jacoby Brissett in there? Like to me, he's a second quarterback in 2 quarterback leagues. In a 1 quarterback league, he's probably not even a guy that I roster.
In a 1 quarterback league, it'd be somebody I watch on the waiver wire. Now, I very well could pick him up because I think the Colts going to Los Angeles and shock the Chargers in week 1. With that being said, he's more of a 2 quarterback guy, but I would definitely put a star by his name and put him on my watch list. He's got some weapons, you know what I'm saying, and things like that. Do you know Andrew Luck? Do you know the reason why T.Y. Hilton wears number 13 is because Andrew Luck wears number 12?
I did not know that. That's interesting now.
That makes me sad, Benny.
You know what? I mean, T.Y. has said, like, T.Y. is destroyed by this. Like, he was like, that's my quarterback. I was waiting for him to start crying,
They came in together. So, T.Y. Hilton had known for a little while now that Andrew Luck was probably going to step down. Austin Eckler. No, we know what Eckler is. We know what Duke Johnson is. We've talked about those players.
Wait, can we talk about this for a second? Because I saw this story. I don't know if you saw the story, right? Like everybody's kind of been talking about Eric Williams from ESPN was the one who came out with a story 2 or 3 days ago that he expects Melvin Gordon to sign, right?
Yeah. I know Eric Williams. I've had him on radio shows for years. He's a good kid.
All right, so here's the problem I have, though, is in the last 48 hours, people have been kind of coming at him on Twitter, like, well, what's your source? Like, where are you hearing this from? Like, who's telling you that Melvin Gordon is going to be there? And he's kind of backed off of I expect Melvin Gordon to be there. Like, his whole argument is, well, he's going to be giving up hundreds of thousands of dollars if he doesn't show up and blah, 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 blah. But he basically said yesterday, I don't have any actual knowledge. It's just a hunch. So I started seeing people drafting Melvin Gordon in the second round again of fantasy drafts instead of letting him slip to like the fourth round, which is where he had been slipping to when everybody figured he was kind of going to sit out. I watched Austin Eckler, who got shot up to like ADP 50, 60, going 70, 80 the last couple days here. I don't think anything's really changed. Like, I'm still not expecting Melvin Gordon to be there on opening day, and he may be out for multiple weeks.
Somebody tweeted last night that Melvin Gordon was off their draft board, but when he slipped to the 6th round, they was like they couldn't just let him sit there any longer, and he drafted him. He tweeted that out. Melvin Gordon.
Second round, I don't get. 6th round, I'm good with it. People that are going back up and taking him second, third round, that's what I don't get.
Melvin Gordon saw the tweet, replied to the tweet saying 6th round, I'm offended. So.
Well, then get your ass in camp and you'd be a first rounder. You would have been a top 6 pick in the draft. Like, remember the drafts in June, Corey? Melvin Gordon, we were arguing about
5.
We were arguing if it was the big 4 or the big 5. Yeah. Like, we were like, well, Melvin Gordon should be going right after that. Like, that's the thing. Like, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the draft, it was like Melvin Gordon, David Johnson, Le'Veon Bell. Like, those were the names that were there. So, yeah, I mean, put it this way. If he plays, even getting him in the 2nd or 3rd round is a value. The guy's a first-round talent, but, if you don't like being drafted in the 6th round, then get your ass off the couch and report, and then you'll be a top 10 pick again. Like, that's, it's not that anybody's knocking your talent by taking you in the 6th round. It's that they don't want to wind up with the Le'Veon Bell situation where you get a season full of zeros,
No doubt. And trust me, I was a victim of that last year, and it was not good getting laughed at by Scott Engel. You know who is ADP is starting to rise, and people are starting to draft more and more deep into the season? I don't have any shares, and it's a chance that I might walk away with one just to be careful, just to cover myself. Matt Breida.
I think the Matt Breida thing has a lot to do with the fact that Jerick McKinnon keeps suffering setbacks, right?
Jerick McKinnon's in a bad spot right now.
Yeah, and that basically means that Breida and Tevin Coleman are the 2 running backs there now, right? So God forbid something happens to Tevin Coleman, or even if they just decide they don't want to give Tevin Coleman 100% of the workload, Matt Breida's there. And listen, Breida had some good games last year. He was a guy that was near mint price for a while in daily fantasy, and is a guy that we were rolling out there towards the end of the season. I don't think it's a crazy thing to have him there. God forbid something happens to Tevin Coleman. Worst case scenario, he's a handcuff. Best case scenario is that he winds up in like a 50-50 split, or even if he's in the 60-40 split with the lower end, he still has some value there. So, yeah, I do think he's a guy that should be drafted. I don't really have any shares of him either, but he's probably one of the better handcuffs in the league now, especially with all this McKinnon negativity news coming out.
All right, here we go, Benny. One of the first things we started talking about when the year kicked off, let's bring it back together and get some final words. Donte Moncrief for James Washington.
Or still Donte Moncrief for me. Donte Moncrief seems to be the guy who's been lining up opposite of Juju in 2 wide receiver sets. They're going to run a lot of 3 wide stuff because they never really use the fullback anyway. So this is this is a situation where both guys will probably be on the field. But if I have to choose one of the 2, I'm more comfortable with Moncrief than I am with Washington. And I agree. Do you look at this situation like a Miles Sanders type thing and Jordan Howard, where Washington could emerge later on in the season? Like Moncrief gets the early year work, and then Washington emerges going down the stretch. Do you think that could be the case? Well, my whole thing is the Steelers are a team that tend to go 3 wide most of the time. The only time you're probably Yeah, the only time you're going to see them really too wide is if they're down probably in the red zone and they're going with a big package where they're going like double tight end, I mean, because you got to get Xavier Grimble on the field, right? Like, I mean, we talked about this before. You can't just go Vance McDonald. You got to find some snaps for that guy. But I mean, most of the time they're going to be going 3 wide anyway, so both of these guys are going to be on the field. I don't think it's crazy to think that Washington ends up with more targets. The thing I'm most interested in, Corey, is to see how they use Juju this year, right? Mm-hmm. Because Juju a lot of times was the slot receiver. So if they're going to put Juju in the slot, maybe they put Washington and Moncrief on the outside. That still means Juju's the guy that's going to be targeted the most. Are they going to move Juju to the outside to where Antonio Brown was over on the right side of the formation most of the time? Because if that's the case, then you're talking about Washington in the slot, which means that Washington could have some big gains there out of the slot. I think the slot guy is a better spot to be in than the left wide receiver in that offense. So if Washington ends up in the slot there, I wouldn't doubt if he winds up outperforming Moncrief. I just trust Moncrief a little more in drafts. But I have a little bit of exposure to both guys. They're both going, pick 100 or later. So you can definitely get one or the other in round 10 or beyond. No doubt. I'm glad you mentioned the slot thing as opposed to the outside, because that's the situation that we got with the wide receivers on the other side of Devontae Adams. You have Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and then you have my man Geronimo Allison. I'm overexposed to Geronimo, so I'll get that out the way right now. So that's kind of tough for me. Now, I probably will try to snag a few more MVS, but Geronimo is my guy. He is the guy that'll be in the slot. But, Benny, Aaron Rodgers don't necessarily throw the wide receivers to the football to the slot receiver. Aaron Rodgers likes to throw the football to the outside receivers. Now, we saw him get busy with Randall Cobb for years, but Allison in the slot, MVS on the outside. Which one you got? Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'm on the Geronimo Allison train. He's one of my highest owned wide receivers in my best balls. I want to say I got over 60% of him. I think the only guy I have more of is Deebo Samuels. Yeah. And the only reason I have more Deebo Samuels is he was going like pick 180. So he was like my 16th, 17th round pick, and like
auto pick and roll out.
Like legit the first 20 drafts I did, he was my 7th wide receiver that I was drafting in round 16 or so. So I could do another 30 drafts, and I'm still going to have more than 50%. Nothing I can do about it at this point, but I'm actually happy with that, and I'm fine with it. Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about it. There's a lot of people that are on the MVS train, and there's a lot of people like us that are on the Geronimo Allison train. I prefer Allison of the two. I like the fact that he's in the slot. I think it does actually give him a chance to make more catches. Maybe not more big plays down the field. I think MVS will have more of the big plays, but I think Allison will be a little more consistent. And I kind of like that in a PPR setting. I want that consistency of targets and catches.
No doubt. So there you go right there. Some of the big things that we've been breaking down. Tomorrow or before the auction, me and Benny going to hop on early. And then I got to make my way into Manhattan for the NFFC auction, 12-team PPR. It's the big one, Benny. You know what I'm saying? We can almost put 5 figures into the docket, into the bank account if we knock this one down. Mm-hmm. So definitely pretty pumped and excited about this draft and this upcoming draft weekend with the fellas from the NFFC up here in New York. But tomorrow we'll get on here, Benny, and we'll see if we can build the team, and then we'll work it out. Tonight is the kickoff, week 0 going into week 1 of the college football season. Benny, I got a couple bets. I'm looking at it now. Benny, look at we got a little in-state rivalry. Your boys, Delaware plays Del State. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be betting on this game. I just know you're a Delaware guy, and my son was considering Del State, and Del State is right across the street from Dover Downs. Yeah, they'll go ahead and play those NFL tickets, and you used to bet on the ponies out there, joint Benny. But y'all are 22.5-point favorites against Del State. Probably beat up on Del State the first game every year, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is you say it's a rivalry. Like, they play every year, but it's not much of a rivalry, right? Like, Del State's really like a D3 school.
Yeah.
Delaware is like a 1AA. So they should be 3 touchdown favorites, and they should beat their ass like they do most years. I got to be honest, as a Blue Hen alum of the University of Delaware, the ass-kicking chickens, the fighting Blue Hens. If we lost this game, I would probably, I would probably tell people that I went to Rutgers or something like that. As bad as that sounds.
No doubt. My son, he goes to Morgan, right? So I was texting with him last night. I'm like, how do you think about that football team? He was like, they suck. I was like, yeah, but they're getting 23.5 versus Bowling Green, and Bowling Green sucks too. I'm actually going to take the 23.5 that Morgan State is getting tonight versus Bowling Green. Morgan State's first-year head coach is Tyrone Wheatley.
Oh yeah, I remember Tyrone Wheatley.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
He's got that job, but no, but Bowling Green not the MAC. Well, Bowling Green is the worst team in the MAC. They're whipping. Bowling Green has got 23 points better than anybody. I will ride with that one. That's not going to be one of my big bets of the night, Benny, but I do like that one. Situation that we talked about earlier with the bowl games, the team in the bowl game getting the opener. I like Cincinnati tonight. They're laying 3 versus UCLA. The money line is 140, Benny. I'm going to jump on the Cincinnati money line in this one. Cincinnati coming off a bowl victory last year. UCLA's second year under Chip Kelly. So I'm going to take the Bearcats in this one, Benny.
That one will probably be on TV, so I'm going to hop on board that one with you. Yeah, again, college football is not my cup of tea. I mean, growing up in New Jersey, I mean, Rutgers is our big football team, and Rutgers sucks. I mean, the only decent season that I remember Rutgers having was when Ray Rice was there before he was beating – well, I mean, he might have been beating women then too, but not publicly and on video. So, I've never been as big a college football fan as a lot of my friends who come from – places below the Mason-Dixon line where, football is a much bigger thing. For us up in our area, it was always NFL, right? Because we had the Jets and the Giants right there. Like, it was always more about NFL. It was always more about Sunday than Saturday. Yeah. But, I'll hop on board and follow you into that Cincy bet. I kind of like that idea.
Another one I'll be getting on tonight. Now we got starting to get a lot of these bad boys popping up. Where we got some action tonight. Thursday nights are known for the MAC conference, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They come on TV, ESPN2. You get that MAC game. That's for your serious, hardcore gambler when you're laying the points with Central Michigan. We do got some action tonight, though, with Central Arkansas and Western Kentucky. I know our main man. I'm looking in the package right now, Elite Sports Betting. So I'm quite sure, Friday, Paulie does have some picks up already. And you know what? Me and him actually agree on something. Look at that, Benny. I'm thinking I'm going in the right direction.
He's on the Cincy pick too?
He is on the Cincy pick. No, he's not on the Cincy. He doesn't have the Cincy one, but I'm about to tell you what he does have. Give you a sneak peek behind the paywall. Another one that I am on. UCF plays Florida A&M tonight. UCF is laying 47. That's humongous. But they're playing FAMU, and FAMU stinks. I'm trying to find it. Here it is right here. Down there in the Bayou, Tulane gets a home game versus Florida International. This will be one of the better games of the night, Benny. Friday, Paulie is on Tulane. I'm on Tulane also. This is going to be another money line for me, though. Tulane's laying at 3. I'm going to take the minus 145. It'll be a part of a parlay, but I like the Tulane Green Wave versus Florida International. Should be a hotly contested game, Benny, but I think the home field advantage gives Tulane the victory against FIU.
It's going to be a fun night for me. I'm just going to be betting on college football games and tailing all you guys, so this will be good.
It'll be fun. You're right. Clemson and Georgia Tech. Interesting, Benny. Clemson is laying 37, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, Clemson's legit, though. This is a team that's always in the finals almost year after year.
They'll be there in the end. But Georgia Tech is like a Power 5 school. You know what I'm saying?
And that shows you how good Clemson's been, that they're 5 touchdown favorites against another Power 5 school,
Yep. I think Georgia Tech is if I'm not mistaken, Georgia Tech is a triple option team that's not going to be running triple option for the first time in their history. So they're not going to know what they're doing coming out the gate tonight. This could lead to a lot of turnovers. The total in this one, Benny, is 60.5.
And they're expecting them to win by 37. So, I mean, you're basically talking about, what, a 14-50 kind of game or something like that to get there?
Here's the thing. I think Clemson can score 50.
So then really
– Tech can score 10, though.
No, I was just about to say, so really you're just hoping that Georgia Tech can get you a touchdown and 2 field goals or 2 touchdowns. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, listen, Clemson is, again, one of the favorites to be in a national championship. They're one of the best teams in the country. This is part of the reason why I don't love betting on college football, because taking 35-point spreads, it just goes against every fiber of my being. You know what I mean?
It's wild, Benny, but it's fun, as my man Nando would say. Mm-hmm. What I will do with this one right here is, though, because they're not really giving us no team totals, more than likely because they figure we'll hammer them. So I'm looking at FanDuel. I don't get no team totals, but I do get a first half point spread of Clemson laying 23.5 in the first half. I'm going to take that one right there. And I'm going to take that because Clemson has Texas Tech next week. That's a big game for them. That's probably the only game they would be even close to being challenged in the regular season. So I'm going to lay the 23.5 in the first half because I think Clemson starters, Trevor Lawrence, Sunshine, the whole crew, come out, smoke them in the first half, and then take the second half off. And then, have themselves ready, prepared for next week. It's a risky bet, 23.5 in the first half, but I will lay the 23.5. I wouldn't be surprised halftime score something like 31-6, something like that, or, somewhere in that range.
What is the do they have a first half total? First half over?
The first hold on one second, Benny. First half total?
Yeah.
35.5.
Ooh, that's tough, man.
Because I worry about Georgia Tech not scoring at all.
Yeah, now you're talking more than 5 touchdowns in a half, too. I mean, it's been done before, but I couldn't do that.
I would like to know that two teams can do it together, not so much. You know what I'm saying?
Right, like you give me a situation where you got 2 high-scoring teams. Like if it was a Texas Tech Clemson game, I might be a little bit more apt to do that, knowing Texas Tech's going to spread it and play up tempo. I don't think I can do that though. Yeah, I'd stay away from that 35.5.
Couple prop bets on this one. Trevor Lawrence passing yards is at 269.5. That's a lot for a college game, but everything about this game is a lot for a college game.
Yeah.
What I would say is I probably lay off that one. No bet for me. Travis Etienne's rushing yards come in at 102. I like that one a little bit more, and he can probably get that in a half. I expect Etienne to break at least a 70, 60, 70-yarder. What do you think, Benny? These guys that can hit the home run like this, that's a big number considering he could take snaps off in the second half.
I would be more apt to take the running back number than I would be to take the quarterback number for the same reason that you mentioned about the Texas Tech game next week is like they might not step on the gas all that much in the second half, but if you're up 2 or 3 touchdowns, you're still going to give the ball to your running back, and your running back could easily break a 60-yarder, and that's really what he's going to need, right? Like he's going to have his normal game, and he's going to have one big run where he cracks one for 50, 60 yards, and then picks up another like 50 yards or so just on the other carries that they give him throughout the game. And he probably won't play
total yards, Benny, passing and receiving, I would like it better.
Yeah.
It's a real sharp number. You know what I'm saying? Put it like that.
I don't think it's crazy though. I think that's actually one that I wouldn't mind putting a little bit on. I'm not going to go heavy on, but I wouldn't mind putting a little bit on because I really don't like any of the numbers for the game. So at least that gives me something to root for while I'm watching it.
No doubt. And then last one tonight, kind of the nightcap, the one that'll keep us up a little bit. BYU and Utah, the Holy War. If you're into that,
Okay, whatever.
Let's not get in trouble, Vinny.
Book of Mormon. Let's go.
The Holy War tonight with Utah and BYU. This is a hotly contested rivalry right here. BYU comes in as the number 14th ranked team in the nation, and they have Pac-10 championship / Rose Bowl aspirations. They start tonight. They start their campaign tonight in BYU. BYU is catching 6.5 at home. I'm going to take BYU with that 6.5. Benny, I'm even going to put a sprinkle on the money line. I think BYU can beat them tonight. I'll money line that BYU. I will parlay that with that Morgan, kind of, you know what I'm saying, play it off of each other a little bit. But I also stake it by itself. But I do like the BYU team, the Brigham Young University. No sex on campus. I do like them.
I am not applying. Yeah, that would definitely not have been a school on my list. But hey, I mean, it is what it is.
Application to BYU.
Yeah, they could have given me a full scholarship. I would have been like, nah, that's okay. That's cool.
So there you go, right there. That's my college college football card for the night, and then try to get you some more tomorrow. Got to handicap those the day after we get some stuff done. Benny, you got any baseball for you tonight, or is just college football and getting stuff done?
Yeah, no, I was looking at the baseball stuff. I know you were looking at college football for today. I'm looking at baseball. It's not a huge day for baseball. There's I think 3 or 4 afternoon games, and then the main slate on fantasy at least is only 6 games on both sites. There's one game I like in the afternoon, one game I like at night. So the afternoon game I like is the Cleveland Indians Again, you're not getting a very good value on it. I think it's like minus 200 or so. But it's Mike Clevenger going up against the Detroit Tigers. So I've been riding the Cleveland Indians all week against the Detroit Tigers, just taking some easy money and putting it in the bankroll, taking some easy money, putting it in the bankroll. This is the best pitcher that Cleveland's had pitching all week in Clevenger. So, again, I'm just going to keep staying on it. To try to make it a little more appealing, Corey, the game I like tonight is actually the San Diego Padres against the San Francisco Giants. We have Chris Paddock, who's a good young pitcher for the Padres, is on the mound. And he's going up against Derek Rodriguez, who's not a very good young pitcher for the San Francisco Giants. So I'm expecting the Padres to win that game, and the Padres are minus 125 tonight. So what I think I'm going to wind up doing is take the easy money with Clevenger in the afternoon and then parlay it with the game that's a little bit more of a 50-50 kind of thing, even though I do think the Padres win. If you parlay the Indians and the Padres together, you get it up to plus 160. So I'll take plus 160 on the Indians in the afternoon and the Padres at night.
All right, there you go right there. Big piece of chicken, Benny. I meant to do this yesterday, but I guess today is fitting. Give the big piece of chicken to the parents because we made it. We made it. We made it with them looking at us in our face. You know what I'm saying? I made it sitting on FaceTime with Kennedy almost the whole day. And she's like, I'm bored, Daddy. And I'm like, I'm working. And I just set the phone up. And I'm just like, okay, baby. Okay. But we made it, Benny. We made it. You particularly, I know Benny, when they go to school, do they eat as much as they eat when they're in the house in the summertime?
Oh, yeah. First off, I have three boys, right? 10, 8, and 4 are their ages. I have like a $250 a week grocery bill.
Yeah.
We go shopping on the weekends, right? So we go shopping every Sunday. It's Thursday. Corey, I shit you not, there is no food in my house today. The only things that are still in my house are the things that were frozen in the freezer. So I got like chopped meat, I got steak, I got chicken. But like any kind of snack, any kind of cereal, like those savages ate an entire box of Pop-Tarts in about an hour this morning. Like it was a brand new box. I put it out and they were all like, oh, Pop-Tarts. There's like 8 empty Pop-Tart wrappers on my floor right now. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? So hopefully it's nice today. I need to get these kids out of the house and get them running off all this sugar that they had for breakfast here.
All right, so there you go. Big piece of chicken. Tip of the cap to the parents. We made it. What you got, Benny?
Yeah, I'm going to give my big piece of chicken to, let's see, who did I want to give it to today? Oh, I know who I wanted to give it to. Dare Ugunbowale. Ugunbowale. There you go. Basically, for those who don't know, this is the guy who's going to be the third down running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? It looks like Peyton Barber is going to get the start. Ronald Jones is not going to be a thing. So if you have a lot of Rojo shares, I know everybody wants the free Rojo. Rojo can't pass block. Rojo can't catch passes. The only thing he can do is run. And they seem to like Peyton Barber more running than they do Ronald Jones. So I think Ronald Jones is going to have another disappointing season.
I agree.
But Ugunbowale is the guy who's supposed to be their third down back. If this is a team that people are expecting to be losing a lot of games this year and playing from behind, he's somebody that needs to start getting drafted. I actually took him in the 16th round of a draft.com best ball yesterday. I saw him going around 16th, 17th round there, so he is on people's radar right now. To me, he's the Tampa Bay back that I like the most, legitimately the most of all three of those guys. And right now his ADP is like 200, but it's rapidly moving up after the announcement that he's going to be the third down back. So he gets my big piece of chicken, and hopefully he works out well for me as a late-round pick here.
All right, for my main man, Benny Ricciardi, I'm Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, the opening line. We are out.